Professional musicians may appear larger than life, but at their core, they're no different from the rest of us. They are, first and foremost, obsessive music lovers. In truth, they have to be. Few people reach true artistic excellence without being utterly consumed by the craft. Among musicians themselves, one figure tends to inspire almost universal admiration: John Lennon. And one artist who openly adores him is none other than Radiohead's Thom Yorke. On paper, the Beatles and Radiohead occupy very different musical worlds. Their eras, their aesthetics, and even their philosophies diverge sharply. Yet influence rarely follows neat lines. It would be difficult to find a modern band untouched, even indirectly, by the Beatles' innovations. In Radiohead's case, the connection is surprisingly personal. Yorke has spoken passionately about the subtle, often overlooked brilliance of Lennon's voice. If Thom Yorke could speak to just one singer, it would be John Lennon. In the singer's talk, Yorke confessed that his fascination with Lennon borders on obsession. When asked which vocalist he'd most like to interview about their approach to singing, he didn't hesitate. It would be Lennon. Yorke described Lennon's vocal presence as raw and brutal, in a way that felt almost effortless, adding that he was captivated by how Lennon could sound so loose and unpolished, while still landing every note with uncanny precision. Yorke said he'd love to ask how Lennon maintained that strange balance, how he always appeared on the verge of slipping out of key, yet never actually did. He was also intrigued by Lennon's vision for how his voice should be recorded and treated in the studio. Though the technology at the time was primitive by modern standards, Lennon and his engineers still managed to create vocal textures that were adventurous and ahead of their time. Yorke even joked that he'd love to sing a duet with Lennon, before admitting, with typical self-deprecation, that the blend would probably be terrible, really awful. Yorke's admiration highlights an aspect of Lennon that often gets overshadowed. Conversations about Lennon usually gravitate toward his persona, his songwriting, or his cultural impact. His singing voice, however, receives far less attention. Like Bob Dylan, Lennon moved through multiple vocal phases, shifting styles with grace and instinctual artistry, so subtly that many listeners never even noticed the transformation Thom Yorke noticed, and he reveres it.